In Virginia, prosecutor Stephanie Morales won her re-election campaign. It's Portsmouth, Virginia's Commonwealth attorney. She's one of only a handful of prosecutors who have been able to prosecute and convict a white cop for killing a black person. We had her on the show when she convicted Officer Stephen Rankin of voluntary manslaughter in the death of William Chapman II, an unarmed black teenager in a Walmart parking lot. Morales, a Democrat, ran on a platform that included promises to combat mass incarceration and reform the cash bail system so that nonviolent offenders are not detained based solely on an inability to pay. Her strong record as a prosecutor includes 26 homicide convictions in less than 3 years in office. Also in Philadelphia, progressive Larry Krasner becomes a Philadelphia district attorney. He beat Republican Beth Grossman. This is a guy who people said no way he could win because he's frankly sued the Philadelphia Police Department for years. Remember, he was the one who also replaced the African-American DA who resigned after he was convicted of corruption. That is Seth Williams. So he was indicted on federal corruption charges. He pled guilty to bribery charge in June, sentenced to 5 years in prison. Let's go to Vincent Thompson, reporter, WURD Radio, black-owned radio in Philadelphia, also principal of Media Man Communications. Yodit Tewelde, of course, defense attorney in Dallas, Texas, former prosecutor. Vincent, first off, to have look, Larry, he's white, but he's a progressive DA. What we're seeing happen across the country, Democrats and progressives are finally waking up to realize down ballot races matter. You can't change the criminal justice system unless you change DAs.
That's true there. Larry Krasner, when he started in February, most people never gave this guy, who was a defense attorney all of his life, no chance to win. He won in the primary in May, and in Philadelphia, overwhelmingly Democratic city, when you win in the primary, unless something major happens, you're going to win in November. He won yesterday, and now we're going to see radical changes in the criminal justice system. Even in his speech yesterday, he said that this heralded a transformational change in the city's criminal justice system, and he's going to bring fairness, quote, for a system that is systematically picked on black and brown people. Some of the folks who I know that know Larry Krasner basically says he's the whitest black man they've ever known. So what could be coming to the Philadelphia District Attorney's office could radically change the system that we know of in the city. This is a prosecutor, this is a man who said publicly that he will not seek the death penalty at any time during his time as the district attorney. So if a cop gets shot, something happens, he won't seek the death penalty. He'd rather get life imprisonment for somebody. So I think you're going to see a lot of radical changes in Philadelphia's criminal justice system. The question is, will the system allow Larry Krasner to change the system?
Yodit, of course, Aramis Ayala, the same thing, first black state attorney in Florida. When she made her decision not to prosecute any death penalty cases, Florida Governor Rick Scott came after her, took a lot of her cases away, and so she's still battling that. Let's talk about Krasner, but also Stephanie Morales. Again, you have African Americans and other progressives who are running for DA, and typically, Yodit, we've seen law and order candidates become DAs. They fixate on the endorsements of police unions. Now folks are realizing you cannot change a criminal justice system unless you deal with the person who's prosecuting.
You're absolutely correct. But you know what? I'm so proud to be from Dallas because I was a former prosecutor working for the first black DA in Texas, and that was back in 2011.
Craig Watkins.
Craig Watkins. And what he did was he created a conviction integrity unit, and he ended up having dozens of people exonerated because they were wrongfully convicted. And that set a trend. And now you see across this country several DA offices who've created similar departments. And so I feel like Dallas is ahead of their time, but you have to understand that DAs are the most powerful actors in the criminal justice system. They have a tremendous amount of power, they have job security, and they have a very low level of accountability. They decide who gets charged, who goes home. They decide whether to indict an officer for misconduct. They decide whether a youth is going to be charged as an adult. So they are key players, and whether people want to believe it or not, this affects DA offices, DA office elections. They all affect somebody. It may not directly affect you, but you know a friend or a family member who is in jail right now and can't afford bond. That is without a doubt everybody's issue. And I'm so glad that people are stepping up and they're putting the right people in these positions.
Vincent Thompson, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Greg Carr, Michael Brown. Again, DA races, judicial races are important, and we can't ignore those. Typically, you see people vote at the top of the ticket, but now we saw, of course, when Cuyahoga County, Tim McGinty got thrown out last year, when, of course, the prosecutor in Cook County got thrown out and Kim Foxx got put in. You are seeing folks go, oh, I can't ignore those DA races.
Roland, this is the only show that's covering this, and this is why people need to really pay attention and register and vote. What you and Brother Brown been talking about this morning is so true. Larry Krasner sued, as you said, the Philadelphia police 75 times. Now he's the DA. You know why? If the police union could have stopped him, they would have. People went out, registered, and people voted. Local elections matter, and that's going to matter in the lives of every kid that gets pinched by a cop, that it has to go before a prosecutor, that is now going to be appointed by a man who has the values of the people in that community. You've got to go out and vote.
Michael Brown, a Democrat, just emailed me, who's African-American, said, quote, we have our own agenda. And so this is where I keep telling folks, issues matter. You don't necessarily have to be the most charismatic person, but if you mobilize and organize people around issues, you will see good things happen.
And you have to have a seat at the table. And how you have a seat at the table is to participate. And there are a million ways to participate. It's not just about writing checks to your favorite candidate. You have to show up at community meetings, show up at your neighborhood meetings, decide to run for your neighborhood advisory, neighborhood commission. There's so many ways you can get a seat at the table so you can get your issues heard by elected officials. But if I can, Roland, real quick, and Professor, it's probably a good exercise for your students.
Yes, sir.
This is more of a GOP Republican problem. Not about this, what Roland's talking about. I'm talking about what we should look out for. We are watching how political bullying, I'm going to sucker you into something, and intimidation, Trump is doing that. And what he's doing is, tell me how, and the irony is, if you're a Republican, you're basically getting intimidated on either retiring and not running.
Right.
To saying, I need to either be like Trump to win, or if I'm not like Trump, I'll lose. What we saw yesterday is that may not be true. So you have people leaving and retiring from Congress to say, I don't need Trump to win. So that civil war in the Republican Party, how you treat people matter.
All right,
how you treat Latinos in Puerto Rico, how you treat black folks, how you treat Muslims, how you treat immigrants, it matters, and it's coming back to haunt.
I got to treat this commercial. I'll be back. NewsOne Now TV One in just a second.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no. That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.